right? We read the fairy tales and we thought they were real. We actually thought they were biographies. You know? Really. And happily ever after is some sort of like this, if it doesn't turn out that way, right? Oh my gosh. I mean, I don't want to even go to all. I better not. I just not going to go there. I mean, we could sit here for the rest of the day and I can tell you all the bad things that I've gone through. And it's not to say, look what I've gone through versus you. It would be to say, you had yours, I've had mine. You know, you want to play the game? Let's play it. You won't find anybody who doesn't if you live long enough. Now, some of you are going to get your crap early. Well, nothing funny about that. You could lose your parents the day after you're born. You could lose a sibling. You could, I mean, right? I mean, my mother's twin died when she was real little. You can have horrible things happen to you early in your life. You can have horrible things happen to you in late in life. If you live long enough, you will have it all happen. If you live long enough, everyone you know and love will die before you, and you will be the last one, if you live long enough. If you live long enough, you'll probably lose every bodily function you have. It's not a pretty sight. I was just imagining you, Tom, losing your bodily functions. It's kind of creeping me out, dude. It's already happening. I got you. Really, I'm with you. This is my self-talk. Breathe. No, this is the way I talk to myself. I say, Gary, don't be arrogant. You were not promised a straight line. There's nothing you're promised. You may die in a car wreck on the way home from this convention. Do not get arrogant. For heaven's sakes, dude, live in the moment while preparing for the future. And recognize that anything can happen at any moment. Make the most of the moment you're at, dude. And do not be arrogant. That's really weird to clap at that, but I love you, thanks. But that's my self-talk, okay? Do with it what you want. But when I'm talking to kids, I say, don't be arrogant. You don't know how much time you have. If you do, let me in on that secret. We can make a fortune. You do not know. And you also don't know along the way what's going to happen to you. So at the end of the day, quit screwing around. Make the most of it. Make the most of it. Live the moment, right? They say the greatest lives, right? We basically live in 3 time zones, the past, present, and the future. In the sense of the past is in our head, and we have to be real careful about what we pull forward. They say that the best adjusted people bring the lessons and the best relationships, and they ditch everything else. Okay? Now, the problem, of course, is if you were in a marriage and your spouse happened to have an affair and you happen to have kids and you need to share the kids with the spouse. Right? I have a really dear friend in West Virginia. This is what happened to him. He comes home and the computer's been left open on the bed and he looks at it and there's naked pictures of his wife with another man. That's always a great experience to have. And, you know, he did everything he could to work it out. In the end, he couldn't work it out. And, but they have these precious kids. And the kids are of an age where they can choose who they want to live with. And when you're real young, you usually choose to live with the manipulative parent. Not the honest one. And so all of a sudden, he's got a rude awakening. He's got a problem. And, you know, he and I are sitting there one night having a drink, and I'm going, dude, your life sucks. He's going, well, thanks a lot. I'm going, you're telling me it doesn't? And he goes, no, you're right, it sucks. I said, good. Well, that's reality. I mean, this is horrible. I mean, this isn't scripted. You did everything you could, and you couldn't stop it. You couldn't stop it. I said, I get that. I totally get it. Okay, now what are you going to do about it? Well, by the way, be proactive and never give up. Just, you know, what's really, I'll just let you know, and I've never said this publicly before, so, you know, here you go. But I sign all of my emails and my letters with the word onward. The reason I do that is there was a moment in my life when I was so down, and it was dark. It was really dark, and I felt so bad. And I was writing a note to someone, And at the end of it, I realized, and I don't know how this happened, but I had this subconscious, almost out-of-body experience where I went, I don't have any choice but to go onward. I have no choice. I have to go on. And so I just signed it, onward. And the next time we communicated, I did it again. I think that was like 12, 15 years ago. And I just signed it that way. You know, what's really interesting about that single word is you'd be shocked, maybe you wouldn't, at how many people who've corresponded with me ultimately end up commenting on that word. Well, it's the only choice you got. What would be the opposite of onward? Well, that's not an option. That's just not an option. You weren't created, you aren't here for that option. It's just not. That's just, you know, that's a blasphemy to life itself. You just can't go there. You can't go there. You can't go there. Okay? All right, next area is spiritual disciplines. Well, we've talked about that. The authority habit. If you didn't invent yourself, then something did. Go figure it out. Just go figure it out. Go deal with that. I mean, that's the message to my son. Go figure it out. If you didn't invent yourself, something did, someone did, go figure it out. Go figure it out. However long it takes, it takes. But go on that journey. And oh, by the way, most likely it wasn't human that did that. So the way that you communicate is through meditation and prayer. And that's a habit. It's a habit of being prayerful and meditating. Stopping and meditating is a habit. And the last one is be thankful and grateful. Because if you didn't invent yourself and something or someone else did, I think you ought to be thankful and grateful. You know. Now this is my self-talk. But that's the way I believe. And I think those are habits. I think thankfulness and gratefulness are habits. Right? You're raising a child. What do you constantly say to them? Say thank you. Say thank you. And you really get ticked with people who don't appear grateful. Right? My attitude is lead with it. Lead with gratefulness. Oh, wake up in the morning and be grateful. For every little thing, be grateful. Be grateful. So, to me, it's the only way to live a spiritual life, is to be grateful. Well, the next area is physical. And I've jokingly said, if you don't take care of your body, where are you going to live? Okay? And that's true. And there are three basic habits. And it's the nutrition, exercise, and stress management habit. Nutrition is a big issue. It's a big issue. People are so used to seeing people that are not in proper nutrition that when I ultimately got my nutrition correct, and it literally changed the shape of my face, people went, oh, I'm worried about you. You look sick. And I'm looking at them saying, well, what I want to tell you is you look overweight. But I wasn't that rude. No, I can show you the pictures of me at 185 pounds. I weigh 159 right now. I've got 13% body fat. But I can show you what good nutrition looks like, and I can show what bad. We're so used to the bad that we don't recognize what you should normally look like if you were properly, you know. The thing about nutrition is food is just medicine that tastes good. And if you think of it like that, you look at it very different. Because now, all day long, you're taking what? Medicine. Except it tastes good. Well, where do you think medicine comes from? Where do you think it comes from? Yeah, plants, food. Yeah, it comes from plants. It comes from the same place your food came from. Okay? And it all started with them figuring out that you should take this plant for this, and this plant for this, and this plant combined with this plant will do that. Because that's all they had. Later, companies figured out how to crush those and bake them or something and freeze them and turn them into pills and suppositories and things like that and sell them to them. And after a while, we get very disconnected with their roots. Isn't that funny? My wife and I have a little garden and we grow like broccoli. We actually grow seasonal vegetables. It's wild. I had a weird experience with broccoli in that when I go to the store and buy broccoli, if I don't eat it within a few days, it goes bad. But you realize that really fresh broccoli, all you have to do is just cut it so there's a fresh cut, because broccoli is a flower, and just put it in water and put it in your refrigerator, and guess how long it lasts? Like forever. Oh, it stays fresh. It's like a flower. You cut the stem off like that, so it's a fresh cut, you put it in water and put it in your fridge. If you gather eggs that are fresh, they don't need to be refrigerated. We have 50 chickens. We got lots of eggs. No, we have 50 chickens. I don't tell you last time I bought an egg. And by the way, eating the eggs at the hotel, they're weird. Because once you've eaten a real egg, right, or a real egg white, it don't taste like it. I don't know what that is. No, seriously, I don't know what that is. You know, and I'm stuck. Anyway, once you start seeing food as medicine that tastes good, your life is very, very different. You feel different, you know. And I've had lots of, we could go through the stories of all the physical challenges I've had. And I got to tell you that I manage everything through nutrition and exercise. And exercise is tough to find the time for. It's really tough, but you got to do it. You don't have any choice. And notice I put that above everything, because if you're going to have the stamina to hang out with me, you're probably going to have to exercise, or most likely you're going to cheat by working more than you should. I would prefer you to have the exercise and have the strength and get after it. That's what I would prefer. Okay. How do you think Mark Willis looks? Is that stunning or what? I mean, wow. I mean, honestly, that guy's a stud. I mean, or one day Althea told me, I made a statement jokingly going to a birthday party for Mark, and Althea, you don't remember this, but you said, well, Gary, he's better looking than you think. Well, it's true. Well, she's just blonde, but she said that. It's true. Well, it's true, but he was overweight. He's not overweight anymore, is he? Oh, man. Well, you know what? He sat in a room with Chris Heller and John Davis and me for about as long as he could stand. And he was the overweight dude in the room. He's not anymore. I mean, jeepers. Is that awesome? And Mary Tennant, man, she looks awesome. Jay Papazon, look at the weight he lost. Look what he looks like. Let me tell you, and these people behave different too, just so you know. And they're losing a lot of weight, not a little weight. And my friend that was up on stage playing the guitar with me has lost 100 pounds in the last year. Wow. Oh, there's 100 pounds less of him up there on stage. That's pretty awesome. Pretty awesome. By the way, it's pretty amazing. Yeah. Anyway, eat right, and by the way, when you start eating right, you'll discover that we have been sold such a crock. It's actually, you really begin to understand that the world at large doesn't really care about you. They're not producing these products because they're your nutritionist. They're just producing them. And they're expecting you to be an adult and either, eat or drink them responsibly or not. Okay? Because any one of those items might be fine. But if you make a diet of nothing but those items, that's not good. Okay? No. Exercise? Absolutely. At a minimum, it's going to have to be 20 minutes or 30 minutes of hard cardio a day. And guys, that's tough. That's not easy. But if you want to have the best heart that you can possibly have in your life, it's 20 to 30 minutes in your target heart rate zone. And here's where you get screwed. The more in shape you get, the harder it is to get the heart rate up. That's where it's a problem. Because you get in a really good shape, it's a problem. You start running and your heart rate is way below what it needs to be. You've got to put it on a deep incline or I get on a ski machine because I like to ski. So we have a ski machine, doesn't take much room. Not a Nordic track, I'm talking about a ski machine, right? Skier's edge, that you ski over, yeah. It's amazing. Do that for 30 minutes with a weighted vest on. I do that every morning. Okay. Stress management. I took biofeedback. I used to stress out. When I wrote in the one thing about being clenched, I was the ultimate clencher. I really thought you went through life with your butt clenched. I did. Well, because all the role models around me looked all twisted and clenched too. Seriously, they did. And I just thought that was the feeling of intensity, like that. Then, all of a sudden, I woke up one morning and was just sick as I could be. And Mary takes me to the doctor, and I give her all kind of tests, and they come out and they say, well, you're healthy as a horse, but the problem is you're stressing out. You're going to kill yourself because of the way you deal with stress. You're going to kill yourself, Gary. Anyway, I don't want to do that. What do? They sent me to a biofeedback technician. You know what that is? That's where they hook you up to all your hot spots in your body, okay? And then they just hook you up to a machine, and they either use just sight or sound. Sound would be that when you're stressed, so when you're hot, and like that. When you're cold, it goes, and there's no sound. So the goal is to teach you with your mind to turn the sound off. Mind over body. At first you're going, really? And you're going, and I didn't even know what the feeling of relaxation was. So I'm sitting there going, you know, I'm trying to, what do you do with your body to turn the thing off, right? The technician who was a smart aleck said, dude, that's a turn off. I said, what is this? No, it's not. It's not working. She said, no, trust me, this is the turn off after this. After a while, I could go in there, sit down at that machine, and like this, and within a matter of a minute, I could turn the machine. She could turn it on as loud as the machine would go, and in under a minute, I could take it to silence. She could make it as far to the right or whatever. And one of them is they have games like the kids they use that's like an airplane, and if you're stressed out, it crashes, and when you're not stressed out, it flies. And the goal in the game is how long they can fly the plane with their mind. And what's stunning about biofeedback is it's biofeedback, it's biological feedback, and it lets you know that this idea of mind over body is actually real. It's a real thing. It's real. You know. By the way, this didn't even make it in the book, but I wrote a whole chapter on this, and they took it out. Because I thought it was important, but it really wasn't applicable to the one thing. It'll show up somewhere else. But, you know, they've done mass experiments. You may have even seen it on TV. 60 Minutes did a story on it recently, where they hooked the monkey up in one room, right, and hook it up with electrodes. And they show it the picture of, and on a screen, they show a banana, right? And then they hook its mind up to these arms that look like their arms. And then they strap them in, and they can grab the banana in the next room with the mechanical arms, with their mind. And does that blow you away? Well, biofeedback is that. What it tells you is that you can manage your stress. If you were to hook me up right now, I'm cool.